Hello, witches and wizards! Welcome to Gravenhurst Public Library's Wizardry 101. My name is Miss Jen, and I'm the Child and Youth Services Librarian right here at Gravenhurst Public Library. Go ahead, get your take and make kit, get situated, and we'll get started. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make your own magic wands. Check it out. We are also going to make a grimoire, which is basically a spell book, and I'm going to show you how to write a couple of spells. But first, let's take a look inside of our kit and see what we have in there. Okay, so inside of our kit, to start, you got a Wizardry 101 story book page. So this page just tells you all of the books we have available at the library that relate to this week's topic, which is of course writing spells, doing magic. So there's a ton of books we have that you can sign out, and there's a display at the library. So you can come and browse and pick a book. What else did we get in our kit? We got 2 different colors of paint. So we got some brown paint and some black paint. You will either have gotten a marble or a gem, okay? You will have gotten a paintbrush or a paint sponge of some kind, a wooden skewer, some string, as well as a couple wooden charms and some wooden beads. Now, to do your magic wand today, you're also gonna need a hot glue gun. So I have mine plugged in. Make sure to ask a parent to either help you or supervise you while you're using this. Maybe get a quick lesson from them on how to use it. It's hot, so just don't let it touch your fingers, right? Okay, and then you're also gonna want something down on the table so that you don't get hot glue on the table. Oh, you know what else we got in our book or in our kit today that I forgot to mention? We got a notebook as well that we're gonna be able to decorate. So get all your stuff out, get prepped, and I'll show you how to make your own magic wand. Okay, to start, the 2 things you're going to need are your skewer as well as your marble or gem, and we're actually just gonna glue them together. So to do that, I'm gonna take my hot glue gun and I'm going to cover my gem in glue. Just in one spot though. I'm just gonna cover this part right here with a great big dab of glue. So you can see it's quite a big blob, and I'm gonna stick my skewer into the center of that glue, and I'm gonna hold it for a few minutes while it dries. You can also just sit it up like this and lean it up against the wall while it dries together, but you want it to be nice and straight, so I'm gonna hold mine. Once it's started to dry like mine has, you're gonna take your glue gun and add more glue. So I wanna add glue in 2 places. I wanna add glue around my gem here, around my marble, so that there's enough glue holding the marble to the skewer. So I'm just spinning this guy around and squeezing glue as I spin. Get lots of glue on there. Okay, next I'm gonna add a big blob up the base of the skewer here. And because this is a magic wand, we want it to look kind of clumpy and creepy, so don't be afraid to use lots of glue. Kind of layer it on there. And so I'm just spinning this guy around and adding glue as I go. And I'm gonna just start working my way up the skewer. Just spinning around. For the other wand that I showed you, I had to use for this craft, about 2 of the glue sticks that you load your hot glue with. So you might have to add more glue as you go. That's okay. And like I said, I want this base to be kind of clumpy and have a lot of glue and be a little bit thicker. So I'm gonna add lots down here. Don't worry about the strings and things. We'll pull those off as we get going, as it dries. So now I'm just working my way up the skewer. And instead of going around, I'm kind of pulling the glue up the skewer. I'm pulling it up and twisting at the same time so that it twists around the skewer. You can see how it kind of just twists around there. Looks pretty magical, I think. So I'm just spinning the skewer while adding glue. Spinning the skewer while I'm adding the glue. And I'm keeping my hands pretty far up the skewer so that they're away from the hot glue, right? Okay. Then as you get up to the top here, you need to kind of taper the glue off. So you want it to go from really thick to really thin so that it'll look like a natural gradient between the glue and the end of the skewer, the end of the stick here. So I'm just doing little bits of glue, little bits up here. Just tiny amounts, really nice and thin. And they just kind of end nice and thin at the top of the skewer. All right, and then once you're satisfied with your wand, you're gonna leave it to dry. Now you can't let any of this glue that's still drying, you don't want it to be touching anything, so I just recommend taking it like this and leaning it up against something so that it'll dry standing up. All right, so while that dries, we're gonna work on the little charm that's gonna go on our wand. So to start, the way I do it is I take this string and tie on the heart gem. And I'm literally just gonna tie it on there at the end. So I've put it at the end of the string and then pulled both pieces of string so that they're even in length. And then I'm just gonna tie a knot so it holds it in place. All right, so I've got my heart gem on. And then what you do after that is kind of up to you. So I'm gonna start with a black bead. And I'm just gonna thread it on. That. And next maybe I'll do this little brown bead here. And to make it look extra cool, I'm gonna loop the thread back around and back through so that it holds it in place. There we go. You can see I looped it back through, so it looks kind of neat. It can slide up and down, but it has an extra little element to it. Next, I'm going to tie on this little guy. You may have gotten one that doesn't have a hole in it. You could hot glue it onto the string. or you can just wrap the string around and tie it on that way. All right, and then I'll finish off just by doing my last black bead here. There we go. Then after I paint my wand, I will add this on. Alrighty, so now that my wand is dry, I'm gonna go through and pull off all of the little stringy bits. There's a few little stringy bits on here, so just pull them off. Just to kind of neaten up the wand. Don't need all these little stringy bits. And once you've done that and you're satisfied, it's time to paint your wand. So you're gonna get your paint and your little paintbrush or paint sponge. I started mine, my last one that I did, you can see I did it mostly in black. So I'm gonna do the same because I like the look of it. And then I just added a couple little like brown highlights on it just to make it look a little bit more witchy, a little more wood-like. But you can paint yours whatever color you like. And so to paint it, you just dab your brush in and you literally can do this. To get into the creases, you just push down. Just get lots of paint on there. Push it in place. I like to leave a little spot at the end for last so I can hold that so that I'm not getting paint all over my fingers. But I mean, the paint will wash off, so it doesn't really matter. As you can see, I'm painting right up to the marble. If you get any on the marble, just take a quick second, wipe it off. And once you're satisfied, you can finish going all the way up to the end. Little brown highlights. Just dabbing the brown on. Rubbing it in. All right, and then I will leave this to dry. Okay, and while you're leaving that guy to dry, you can start decorating your grimoire or your spell book. So you can actually use some of the leftover paint if you want to paint it black. You can use markers. I have a few different old magazines that I'm gonna cut some things out of. But basically, your spell book is your spell book. So it should reflect you, the things that you care about, and your personality. So when I can't really tell you how to decorate it, that's up to you. Make it your own, you know, make it your spell book. Let's do that. And voila, you have a grimoire. Okay, now let's finish up our wand. Now that mine is dry, I'm going to tie on my charms. I'm just gonna do that by tying just a regular double knot. And voila! There's my wand. I can trim off this little bit of excess here. And I'm all done. All right, everyone, we have finished our grimoire, our spell book, and we finished making our magical wand. So now it's time to write some spells. Now, I wanted to give you a little bit of inspiration because there's a couple different ways that you can write spells, right? You could write a long spell or you can have quick charms. So if you're familiar with books or movies like Harry Potter, you might know the spell Lumos. And what that does is it causes light to glow on the end of your wand to light your way. There's also confundo, which makes whoever you are battling with confused or confuddled. There's also engorgio, which makes your opponent or your object grow bigger and bigger, right? And then there's, of course, reparo, which fixes things. And so all of those spells are plays on words. So they use the base word from our English language and they change it up a little bit. So if you wanted to do something like make something levitate, let's say, so make something float, you could take that word levitate and change it up a little bit. So leviato instead of levitate, right? Another really fun thing to do is to get a dictionary or to look online and figure out what the Latin translation of a word is and use that in your spell. Latin is the base language. It's where English came from. It's an ancient and extinct language, so it's a little bit mystical, a little bit magical, and adds a little bit of cool spice to your spells. Another thing you can do when you're writing spells is to make a rhyme or a poem. A really famous example is from Shakespeare's play Macbeth. I'm gonna read you one that I used to love as a kid. It goes like this. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble, fillet of a spenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake, eye of newt and tongue of dog, wool of a bat and toe of frog, adder's fork and blind worm's sting, lizard's leg and howlet's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth, boil and bubble. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble, cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good. And so the way a spell like that one works is it rhymes. And so this one, the pattern of our poem or our spell is A, B, B, C, C, D, D. And all that means is that line 1 and line 2, A and A, they rhyme. Line 3 and line 4, B and B, they rhyme. Line 5 and line 6, C and C, they rhyme. So double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. So the word trouble and bubble rhymes. Fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake. So in that example, bake and snake rhymed. So go ahead, have some fun, get creative writing your spells down in your grimoire. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week to Wizardry 101, where we worked on spell casting. Woo! Tune in next week to learn all about fortune telling. Your Take and Make kits for next week are ready at the library, so come on in and pick them up. See you next time, wizards and witches. Bye for now.